Hey everyone, welcome to this week's live video, live Q&A. Thank you very much for your patience. So this is our live Q&A from last Friday, and I'm just doing it this Monday instead, and then we'll have another one this coming Friday. So if we get questions in. So we had some amazing questions for this session, and I wanted to take this extra time to just make sure that we're going through these questions, because there's a lot here that I think a lot of because these are all INFJ, INFP questions that a lot of us can relate to and can also get some immediate kind of action steps to start moving towards what it is that we actually want. So let's start with the question from Lisa. My communication style is very direct. Sometimes it's perceived as too blunt and can be triggering to others. Examples: you should, you must. How can I soften my style? That's a fantastic question. So there's a couple of things that kind of determine generally our communicational style. One is what our intent is, and the second is our delivery. So both of those things come through. Now, our intent, like Lisa, I know you very well. Your intent is to genuinely help the person that is in front of you. So I can see that, and because you have so much life experience, and because you're a qualified mentor, it's very easy for you to take charge of the situation and really get the person powerfully going into the direction that you believe will actually help them. So that is something that I've observed about you, and we've talked about this before, but it can be triggering for people because they might not be ready to take action. And if you go to you will have already listened to this actually, because I know you listen to all the podcasts, but if you go to SoundCloud and you go to Integrated Life and Business Podcast and you grab the podcast on the stages of learning, you will find the 6 stages of learning, and you will be able to identify which 6 stages of change, at which stage the person is when they're talking to you from their language. So I recommend that you all go and listen to that 6 stages of change. And when people are not in the action stages, they can find direct communicational style very abrasive, because they're not quite there yet. They need a little bit more information, or they need a little bit more care, or they need a little bit more just general sense of being looked after. So I just wanted to set that as a premise before we talk about changing your style. So know which stage of change the person who's asking the questions is at, and then you are able to communicate with them in a respectful way, as in a way that the person who you're communicating with perceives to be respectful. Okay, so how you can soften your style is, there are a couple of ways. One of them is truly just to say, hey, I have some more questions, so put your feedback into question form. Another thing that is very helpful, of course, is you can ask, hey, are you open for feedback on that? So asking for permission to share what you have, the golden nuggets that you have. Because sometimes people just want to be listened to. And of course, the other way to do it is to say, hey, what do you need right now? How are you feeling right now? What do you need right now? So anybody who's done the 4 People Within course are very familiar with those 2 questions. How are you feeling right now? What do you need right now? And then so in that way, the other people are in charge of kind of leading the conversation, and you don't end up being too direct when they're not yet ready for it. It's not actually what they need. They need something else. They might need validation, or they might need, reassurance, or whatever. So for all of us, when we're talking to people, and I'm by no means perfect at this, I mean, nobody's perfect. And those of you who have worked with me, I'm very adamant about the fact that I don't want to be put on a pedestal. I'm perfectly normal, imperfect person like everybody else. I just happen to have been doing this for a really long time. We are all depending on where we are and emotionally, psychologically, and how we're feeling in the moment, we are at different stages of change, all of us. There are times when I'm, sitting on a fence, waiting, collecting information, pre-contemplating, not even aware of what might change. So identify what stage of change they are likely to be in, and then put things into maybe question format, or ask, hey, are you open for feedback, or what do you need right now? And that is the fastest way to show somebody that you really respect them and that you care about where they're coming from.